In every corner of the ancient world, warriors carried shields into battle. It was a simple rule of war: protect yourself or die. But the samurai of Japan broke that rule completely. They walked onto the battlefield without a shield, and they did it by choice. Why did they give up the natural instinct to stay alive? And what scary secrets were hidden in the warrior culture of Japan that made them so terrifying to the rest of the world? Today, we find out the truth behind the samurai's strange way of war. Stay with us until the end. Samurai and Bushi, two words, two worlds. There is another terminology for the word samurai: Bushi. In modern times, people use the words Bushi and samurai as if they mean the same thing, but they actually had very different meanings. A Bushi was simply a warrior, someone with a sword and armor. A samurai, on the other hand, was a warrior who served someone else, like a lord. The word Bushi started being used in the Heian period, about 1,000 years ago. In the beginning, Bushi fought to defend their own land. But as battle got tougher and tougher, the noble people in the capital started asking these warriors for protection. Some Bushi answered the call. In Old Japanese, the word for serving someone was saburo. This is where the word samurai comes from. So, back then, the difference was very clear. How did these two words become the same? In the early days, nobles held the power, and the Bushi served them. But as time went by, the warriors gradually gained power. And eventually, they became more powerful than the nobility class. By the end of the Heian period, or the end of the antiquity, the warriors took control and started the first warrior government in Japanese history. Indeed, power had moved from the court to the sword. Now, instead of serving the nobilities, samurai served powerful warrior lords. Over time, almost every warrior was serving someone. Thus, the difference between Bushi and samurai disappeared, and the two words merged into one. Japan once had shields. Most people think shields were never used in Japan, but that is not true. In the very early days, shields were very important. There were two types of shields: small ones you held in your hand, and large ones that stood on the ground. These Japanese shields go all the way back to ancient times. Records show shields used as sacred objects to protect tombs from evil spirits. So, why did they disappear? Why the shield was abandoned? The answer is related to weapons, tactics, and armor. When you think of a samurai, you think of a sword or katana. But the truth is, the main weapon of a warrior was actually the bow. Archery was the most important skill. Legends say some archers could hit targets from 400 meters away. Reality seems a little shorter, but at 200 meters with lethal impact. This created a problem for shields. You need both hands to use a big bow. You cannot hold a shield at the same time. As archery became the most important skill, the handheld shield just got in the way. Also, when fighting on a horse, you need one hand to handle the horse and the other for your weapon. There was no room for a shield. Then, armor improved. Craftsmen created amazing suits of armor that covered the warrior from head to toe. With such good protection, they did not need a separate shield anymore. The large shoulder guards could even be used like a shield. The armor itself became the shield. The true role of the sword. If the bow was the dominant weapon in the battlefield, what was the sword for? Records from the era of war show that most injuries were caused by arrows, guns, or spears. Swords only caused about 4% of injuries. Ranged weapons were the real killers. When the enemy got close, long spears were used first. Then why did every samurai still carry a sword? First, if a spear broke or the enemy got too close, the sword functioned as the last line of defense. For the samurai, the sword was one's last line of his life. Also, Japan is very mountainous and forested. In tight spaces like forests or inside castles, long spears were hard to use. The sword was perfect for those close-range situations. But the biggest reason was taking heads. Warfare in Japan was up close and personal. When the battle ended, warriors were rewarded based on how many enemies they killed. To prove their victory, they had to bring back the head of the enemy. A sword was the best tool for this. This grim job is why every samurai always carried his blades. The power of two blades. Samurai are often depicted to carry a pair of different blades, the long katana and the short wakizashi. Samurai switched the blades depending how close the enemy were. In close combat, the sword was deadly. It never ran out of bullets. As long as the blade was sharp, it could kill. This made the two swords one of the best weapon systems ever made. Today, we learned why the samurai stopped using shields. It was not because they were reckless. It was because of their tactics, their armor, and their skill with the bow. And as the samurai won themselves peacetime, the sword stayed with them as a symbol of their wisdom, their skills, their spirit, their dignity. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please like and subscribe. We will see you soon in the next video.